Hello and welcome to our Delta analysis video. Before I get into the video, applications are still out for a week from now, exactly a week. So if you haven't applied yet, the link is in the description. If you want to spread the applications or do whatever, I don't really care. But it's only still open for a week. But yeah, Delta Dunsparce is I really like Delta Dunsparce. It's not good, but I really like it. It's a bug and water type, which is not bad. You're weak to rocks, which is annoying. You're weak to flying, weak to electric. Is that it? Honestly, three weaknesses is not that bad, unless I'm missing one, which I don't think I am, but I might be missing one. It's not that bad. Complement each other pretty well, and offensively also pretty good. To be fair, water and bug and like water types usually get ice coverage as well. It's like it just helps each other pretty well. So yeah, its typing is pretty good. Looking at the stats, it's okay. 45 speed is really slow, but you can do something about that. Its HP is decent at 100, 70 attack and defense, it's okay. 65 special attack, special defense, it's okay. Um, like it's not that bulky, it's not that strong, but it can definitely like it has some sets. It has some pretty flame sets. Is it the best? Is it worth getting this thing for what it can do? Maybe not. There are better options possibly, but it's a lot of fun, and that's what it's a lot of fun. Um, yeah, going to abilities here's where it gets fun. Hypercutter, Swift Swim, and Skill Link. Hypercutter, it's not a bad ability, it ignores attack drops, like you cannot get your attack dropped. Swift Swim and Skill Link are just a lot better. Swift Swim doubles your speed and range, and Skill Link means that multi-hit moves hit the maximum amount of times no matter what. And this thing, you'll see, like the first set is going to be Skill Link, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So yeah, its abilities are good. I'll get into them later. But Hypercutter is overall the worst one. Swift Swim and Skill Link are both viable, although Skill Link is generally like a specific set, and everything else is going to be Swift Swim. Um, some relevant moves. It gets some quite a bunch of cool moves. It gets agility, horn gloss, and sword stance for setup. Agility boosts its speed. I'll get into how fast it is at +2 in the Swift Swim set. Um, but yeah, Horn Claws boost your attack and by one stage and accuracy by one stage, but generally speaking, Sword Stance is better because it doesn't have that many inaccurate moves. Besides like the special set, but then like you don't really care to be honest. But yeah, Taunt for stopping setting up, setting hazards, doing status, whatever they want to do. Spikes for setting up your own hazards could definitely be good. Super Fangs do an automatic 50% of health remaining of the opponent's Pokemon. Super Fang, oh no, I just did Super Fang. U-turn to pivot around. Water Shuriken, Aqua Jet, and First Impression are priority options it gets. Unfortunately, Water Shuriken is no longer a physical move. If it was, then this thing was made while it was still a physical move. That would have been really fun. But it's unfortunately not. It's a priority multi-hit move though, so if you are Skill Link, you have a priority 5 times hitting. Special move, I think it's base 15 every hit, which is not huge, but it is what it is. It is priority, so not really much you can complain about that. Alkjet physical priority move. First impression is a bug type physical priority move, but you can only use it on the first turn you're out, and it's a lot stronger than Aqua Jet is, like base 70 or I think. So yeah, the first set is the skilling set because that's a lot. It's my favorite set. It's not the best. It's the worst set, but it's definitely my favorite set. Um, Pin missile, ice cold spear, rock blast. It's skilling. It's gonna hit 5 times every single time. It's a lot of fun. Also, with agility, outspeed a lot of things. Um, so you outspeed a lot of things, and then you just click pin missile to hit a bunch of times. Hit ice cold spear to hit a bunch of times. Rock blast hit a bunch of times. Or options, first impression, obviously, if you want it like for priority, for very strong priority. Sword Dance to boost your attack if you only need like 2 coverage options or you don't want agility for some reason. Um, what what a Shuriken is also gets affected by skill link, but it is a special move, so you will not do that much damage with it if you are not specially invested. But its physical attack and special attack are quite pretty similar, so you could run it and do like decent damage for priority. Like it's priority, and that's like why it's good. Um, Aquajet for other priority water move, but I'm not sure which one does more if you're physically invested. Also probably depends on what you're up against, but it's an option. Both are options, and they could definitely either be viable. Home class if you really want Rock Blast to hit, but otherwise not really worth it. Leech Life for some health recovery, but you don't really. No, pin missile does a lot more damage because with 5 hits it's like base 125 or something like that. It's a lot stronger, so it's generally the preferred option, and it doesn't miss either, so that's quite good. U-turn for pivoting. If you want to pivot around, you can U-turn. Taunt for being taunt, spikes for hazards, and super fang if you just want some chip. Uh, this is just a lot of fun to use, to be honest. I'll calculate after sources, right? Okay. If you're physically offensive and you're jolly because you're agility as well, Heracross, Mega Heracross at +2 attack. Why does it not automatically update? Why you bully? Uh, 400. You're not as strong as Mega Heracross, but it's actually quite close. Like, it's actually close, which is kind of cool. Like, you're at +2 light. There we go, light. It's a bit light, but okay. It's just a little bit weaker than Mega Heracross, the +2 attack. So that's quite impressive because Mega Heracross is a fucking monster, and that thing's really strong. Um, so yeah, that's quite cool. So yeah, that's basically the multi-hit skill link set. It's just click spin missile and icicle spear and rock blast, and it just hits a lot of times, and that's cool. You can run this if you're gonna be an asshole. You can run this with like King's Rock if you really want to be that guy. It makes the set like half times as fun. Like you get like half the points for using that, even though there are no points. Yeah. The Swift Sim set then is again physical. The last set is special. It's a bit of an out there set. It's surprisingly viable, unfortunately, or fortunately. I really like it. But yeah, Rain with Swift Swim, Orbit Agility at +2 speed, you outspeed everything non-scarf under base 140 at speed. Base 140 you don't outspeed. Base 139 I'm not sure. I don't even think anything has that. So basically everything under 140 you outspeed. Everything above 140 you don't. It's unfortunate sometimes, but it's still quite fast. Scarfers, maybe like 70, 75 or something like that. You outspeed. I'm not sure on that number, but it seems pretty reasonable because 145 outspeed base 180, one base 80 Scarfers. So that's all I know. Um, I should have checked this. I'll check it right now. I'll do it. At +2 speed, you outspeed. Um, you outspeed. Oh, you easily outspeed this. You speed tie with base 76 Scarfer, so basically Nidoqueen. So you speed tie with Scarf Nidoqueen, and everything slower you outspeed, even if they're scarfed. That's quite cool. Liquidation Leech Life is the best stab you have. You can also run Lunge as a stab option for bug type stab, but yeah, it doesn't heal, but it lowers the attack of the opponent. I think it lowers the attack. So yeah, basically Leech Life heals, Lunge drops attack. If you I prefer Leech Life personally, but whatever. Sword Stance to boost your attack in rain because you're already fast. Might as well become strong as well. Why not? And Icicle Spear is there because it's physical ice coverage, and that's honestly really good when this things with things with this thing stab combination. Icicle Spear is quite nice to have. Um, but it doesn't get the skill link, and you have to remember it's not going to hit 5 times most of the time, so it's only going to hit like 2 or 3 or 4 times sometimes. So yeah, but it's still good. I still like it on the set. Other options: Aquajet, First Impression, obviously for priority. Lunge, I already talked about that. Iron Tail, Poison Jab for fairy types or whatever you want to hit with them. Although Poison Jab is really only for fairies, and if you want to be accurate, Iron Tail is otherwise a better option. Also helps with ice types and rock types and whatnot. Only those really. Shadow Claw helps with ghost types, psychic types, although psychic types shouldn't be an issue. U-turn for pivoting because you're fast and fast pivots are good. And a stab too, so they're gonna do a decent amount of damage. Spikes for hazard, taunt for taunt, aqua tail if you want a stronger liquidation but not gonna hit as often. It's like 90% accurate, 90 power, and liquidation is 85 power and 100 accuracy, so like whatever you prefer. Rock Blast is a decent rock type option, although it's just as Ice Spear. It's not gonna hit 5 times, but it's good coverage to have if you want to have coverage for like bug types. Uh, what else? Flying types, because Icicle Spear already does that. Fire types, it doesn't really worry about those to begin with. Anything else? There has to be something else that's super effective against ice. If you want to hit ice types, I think Iron Tail might be better, but Rock Blast is more accurate and but it's also more inconsistent. And Aerial Ace, if you want to run something for fighting types, you can run Aerial Ace. It's an option it gets. It's not the best option, but it's an option. So in general, Rain, it's fast, it tests up Sword Sense, and then it's also kind of strong. And it just clicks stabs plus Icicle Spear, generally speaking, or like priority options or whatever he wants to run. And it does decent damage, to be honest. Honestly, it does quite decent damage. Especially in Rain plus 2 liquidations are gonna do a lot of damage. So yeah, and then the third set, this is more of a joke set, but it's actually like unironically viable. The Brine set, people don't use Brine as much as they should, in my opinion. Super Fang Brine is actually like genuinely good because if you don't know what Brine does, basically Brine is a base 65 special water type move. But if your opponent is below half health, its base power doubles. So it's basically a stronger Hydro Pump that's 100% accurate if your opponent is under half. And that's what Super Fang is here for. Super Fang is gonna put your opponent below half, and then you're gonna brine them to death. And that's the point of this set. You're gonna Super Fang them, and brine them, and dead. I've used it on the Tapu Fini before. It works, kind of. But it's you can definitely play around it, obviously. Like you can heal, but like if you're Swift Swim, question mark, you can run Skill Link if you want to run like Water Shuriken. Um, but Swift Swim is like if you're gonna have rain anyway, run Swift Swim. Uh, you're gonna have fast brines that after Super Fang kill basically everything. Like I calced against like a Spadef Miltank, which is a fat ass mon, against a Spadef Miltank after in rain after a Super Fang and like any hazard to put it below half. Brine kills. And that's the point of Brine. It's gonna do a lot of damage. Everything resists Brine. Dragon types, Ice Beam. Grass types, Ice Beam. If you're up against water types, you do have Grass not as an option. You can still run First Impression if you want a strong priority option. U-turn from Momentum. Mud Shot is an option, especially. Foul Play, like Special doesn't have the best options, so Foul Play is like a decent option. Hydro Pump if you want something objectively strong, and taunt spikes because taunt spikes is also helps with like it's the hazard you need to bring things below half because some things are like if they have old HP, Super Fang doesn't actually put them below half, but if you have any hazard, they do put them below half. So then Brine has its doubled base power. So spikes synergize as well with the set in general, or like any hazard whatsoever. Toxic spikes, actually toxic spikes would work most of the time. So yeah, basically that's Delta Dunsparce. Its stats are not great overall, but its sets are really fun. Like Skill Link does a lot of damage, it can do a lot of damage, and with agility and source and support setup, and like a lot of priority options and multi-hit options, and even like a rain set, like it definitely has a lot of fun options, but its stats are a bit lackluster. I'm not sure if they are good enough to make this thing an viable option. Like there are definitely a lot of better Swift Swim users compared to this. Like Swift Swim is the most abundant ability in the game, and there are a lot of better options, probably, but this is one of the most fun options because there's so many fun moves to use and play with. So yeah, that's Delta Dunsparce, and yeah. Next up is Delta Shuckle. That thing's garbage. Okay, see y'all then. Goodbye.